All right, welcome back, guys. So this is video number 3. And as I promised, we're jumping over to functions. So whether something is a function, is not a function, and I'm gonna try and use this color, but I don't know if it comes up. It doesn't really come up very dark. So I might not use it just because I want it to be able to show up. So I'll go back to the other color I used. All right, so the first thing you're looking at is, can I identify functions? Yes, I can identify functions. If I can answer these questions, that means I can identify a function. What makes a function? We're gonna explain whether or not it represents a function. So all we're doing here is writing yes or no. If something is a function, what cannot repeat? Okay? Your input has to have only one output. Your input can only have one output. Now remember, the input is my X value, and my output is my Y value. If you ever forget that, I just wrote it for you. It's there. Okay? So I'm gonna look here and I'm gonna look at how many, I'm gonna make sure that my inputs only have one output. So this input, this is a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. They did not repeat. So because my X value did not repeat, yes. Okay, X did not repeat. Look over here. I have -3, -2, 0, -3, -2. Well, wait a minute. Our X value repeated not once, but twice. So, no. X repeated, okay? My -2, my -2 and my -3 both repeated. That's a repeat, that's a repeat. So no. When I do the vertical line test on here, if you pass through on the line twice, so there's one, there's one. On this one, on that line, that's twice. On this line, that's twice. So no, it does not pass the vertical line test. Okay, so no, that does not pass. Let's look over here on number 4. Number 4, if I did the vertical line test, it only hit it on one point. So yes, the line passes the vertical line test, which means it only has, yes, the line passes the vertical. That means it only has one input for every output. So it has one each input has only one output. Your outputs can have many inputs, but your input can only have one. So just like when we looked up here, we noticed that even though the output, let me slide it down just a little, even though our output for here, so our Y value for this one and this one are the same, all the Y values are the same. I don't know if you noticed that. All the Y values are the same. That is okay. That is okay. Your X cannot repeat. Your X cannot be the same. Okay? Your X cannot be the same. So let's look at number 5. We're looking at an equation that has your Y value has an exponent. Automatically, no. Why? Because Y can not have an exponent. So y cannot have an exponent, but your x can. Because what this is saying is, it says that each input has only one output. That's what this is telling me. So you need to see the difference. The y value cannot have an exponent. It will not be a function. But your x value can. That's something we should remember. So for here, this is more of just you giving an example of an ordered pair. That because our answers are going to just be different, we don't really need to do that. You can just pick one. But like I said, this is just your review sheet. This is not the actual work. This is just a review sheet. So let's look at number 8. I can compare properties of functions. Remember, we have to compare the function. When I compare the function, I'm looking at what my slope is, okay? Which of the function below has a greater rate of change? So this slope is 5/6. Do we know this slope yet? No, because we don't have it. So what you're going to do is you need to find what the formula is going to be. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can do y divided by x, or you can take your 2 points and you can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, let's do it the quickest way. The quickest way is to say y divided by x. Assuming that there is a constant rate of change. Now, we don't know if there's a constant rate of change yet. So, this and this. If I go from -1 to +1 on a number line, let's see how far I've gone. If I go from +1 to -1, I went 1, 2 spaces, okay? So I went up 2 spaces, all right? What about from 1 to 3? Well, how many spaces in between 1 and 3? 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2. So I went up 2 again. And from 3 to 5, if I were to do this on here, 3 to 5, I went 2 spaces again. So right now, I know that my x value is 2. Because remember, the rate of change is y divided by x. So that's why I put my 2 here, because my rate of change for my x is 2. If I go here and I say 15 and 25/100 to 15 and 75/100, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator so you can see. So we have 15 and 75. When you're going backwards, you're actually, well, you can count up, but when it comes to decimals, it's easier if you subtract the number to the right. So you take the number to the right and you subtract the number to the left from that one. Whoa, what'd I do? Oh my goodness gracious. Hold on. Oh, this is cute. I'll use that one. All right. Perfect. Okay, don't know what happened here. There we go. Oh, that's bright. Okay. 14 and 25/100. We'll get 1 and 5/10. I did not know my book can do that. That's kind of cool. 1 and 5/100. Okay, so I have 1 and 5. My assumption is from here to here is 1 and 5, and here to here is 1 and 5. Now you can do the calculations, which I would encourage you to do, but for the sake of time, I cannot. So right now I have 1 and 5/10 over 2 versus 5/6. Well, even if I did not divide them, just looking at the fraction, I need to see which one is going to be faster. My assumption is this is faster because 1 and 5 is very close to 2, but 5 and 6 seems like it would be closer to 6. But let's take a look. If I did 5 divided by 6, I'd get 0.83. If I do 1.5 divided by 2, I get 0.75. So what this is telling me is the slope of this line is 0.83 and the slope of this line is 0.75. Which one is greater? This one. That's how you compare. You're going to do the same thing over here. Over here, you need to rearrange everything so that your y value does not have a coefficient, and then determine which one is going to have what you need. So to do that, I'm going to use my dry erase board instead, because there's not enough space on that tiny little bit of paper to do that. So we're going to use the dry erase board to get her done. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more so you can see. There we go. All right. So let me get my paper back and my dry erase marker, and we're going to go function 1. And this will be function 2. Okay. So function 1 says negative 2x plus 5y equals 10. And function 2 is negative 6x plus 3y equals 18. I need to get this 2x over here. So I'm just going to add 2x to both sides. Remember, we can't combine terms that are not alike. So the only thing I can do is just put 2x plus 10 next to each other. Then you need to divide both sides by 5 so that the coefficient goes away and y can be by itself. And then we end up with 2/5 x plus 2, because 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay? So my slope for this one is 2/5. All right? Over here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get that y by itself, that 3y on its own, or on its own by itself on that side. I think that's what I was trying to say. Then I'm going to divide everything by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So the slope for this one is 2. So is 2 greater than 2/5? Yes, it is. So then our answer is function 2. So it's a little bit easier when they've already given you the equation, because then all you have to do is get it in y equals mx plus b form, and then determine which one is bigger. Okay, and remember we determined which one was bigger because that might be too big to see. Yeah, it's too big to see. Because this one was 2/5 and this one was 2. Okay? If you have any questions, make sure you're asking them of me. Make sure you go and look at the videos on Khan Academy. The last video is going to be on the back of this sheet. These notes will also be posted into Google Classroom.